Hey everyone, Ben here, and lately I've been wondering whether as sim racers we're all being willingly exploited. I'm talking about the fact that sim racing is almost exclusively a live service. As opposed to more traditional gaming experiences where you buy a standalone product, games as live services get continual updates and usually feature long or even indefinite streams of paid for content updates. But the question is that a good thing? I asked you that very question, but before we find out what you thought, let's talk through some of the pros and cons of sim racing titles as live services. In the pro column, using the live service model allows sim racing titles to reflect real life racing as it changes. New cars, tracks, racing series and more can be integrated into your favourite sim racing title without the need to make and release a new game. From introducing the latest generation of GT3 or Formula 1 cars to recreating new IMSA Championship formats, live service titles are able to adapt to changes in the real world much more easily. Alongside the opportunities this offers to deliver up-to-date and authentic experiences, live service games also mean that you're never far from new content to race and new features to enjoy. Paid for DLC, quarterly content drops and new features like dynamic weather, AI updates, physics enhancements and lots more can be introduced to sim titles years after their initial release. The live service model also provides often small development teams with a steady source of revenue to enable them to continually improve their title, and as is the case of the iRacing system, sustain the infrastructure for a huge 24/7 online multiplayer game. It also means that developers can respond in real time to user feedback, and of course in what are inevitably highly complex games, the model also allows developers to proactively squash bugs and iron out kinks in the physics, graphics, force feedback and other areas of the title. In these ways, sim racing live services often evolve and get fundamentally better during the course of their lifetimes. But it isn't all upside. The whole concept of a live service game can mean that sim titles are released in a far from finished state, with core features and systems fundamentally broken at launch, but with a promise that one day in the future they'll be fixed. This accusation has been levelled at a number of titles, despite the fact that many have been sold with expensive subscription and content models, or even extensive season pass content promised. As consumers, I feel pretty strongly that we should expect better. Another concern is that such titles tend to rely on the presence of online servers to function at all, even when not racing online. Servers which ultimately could be switched off at some unknown future date. To that end, you don't have to be playing a title with a subscription model to be a bit concerned that at the end of the day, you don't really own any of the content you might have bought in a live service title. Equally, the flip side of benefiting from new content drops arriving is that content can be taken away as well. Licenses can run out, content can be reconfigured or even retired altogether from the sim. And then there's the endless changelogs and micro changes to core physics systems. For the layperson, this can often feel like a process of endless tinkering rather than meaningful improvement. And finally, there's the question of microtransactions. In the end, games as live services come at a significant cost. Yes, there might be an ever-expanding content and feature base, but the need to keep pouring money into the sim is also there, even after it's been out and on the market for years. At its most extreme, does this model incentivize developers to keep squeezing money out of their existing platform, even if they've long since exhausted its potential to deliver an exciting and cutting-edge sim racing experience? And so with these factors in mind, what do you think of sim racing titles as a live service? Well, to my genuine surprise, when I put a poll up on my YouTube channel, those that voted were overwhelmingly supportive of the concept. I really did think this would go the other way, but it just goes to show that for many of you out there, the fact that live service models allow for our favourite sim racing titles to keep improving years after launch feels worth it. But let me know what you think in the comments, and if you've enjoyed this video, you might be interested to find out why iRacing content drops drive me absolutely mad. Check out the video on screen now.